Hello all and welcome to Gabbit Media. I'm Grant Abbott and today we are going to be looking at the competition entries. I've just been going through them and they took me an hour to do, so let's spend no time talking and let's get straight to it. So here's our first one from Pink Mayo. Absolutely fantastic piece. Parasite it's called. And it's looking pretty scary. I'm assuming that's where the eye goes and the parasite is on the eye, but I would have said the eye should be up here personally. Really nice. I love the fur. That's fantastically done. And generally the shape is really good. I feel like the nose is a bit flat to the screen. If we're thinking 3D, it should be sort of lined down here, I think. And that's a great way to draw, in fact, if you're to think in 3D. So this should sort of be thinking about a sort of box and thinking about where that perspective line is and things like that. But really fantastic work. I really like the texture. Then we've got Terea123, Mysterious. It is indeed mysterious. I like it, it works. I like the cage and the material. That looks great. The lighting's very interesting. It's a bit dark, so it is tough to see what's going on. I think that's kind of the point in some way. But it may be a bit too mysterious for me. It looks like it might be a bird facing the other way and it's about to turn around and be a deadly bird or something crazy like that. I like it. Watch the really sharp edges here. Try and use bevels where you can or break some edges up. Just that harsh is a bit too much. It looks very computerish, computer designish. Nice work though, well done. I've been told I need to be harsher on people, so I hope that, well, I don't know, it's not really my personality to be harsh on people. I like to think of the level they're at from what I see and then offer some constructive criticism and some good comments. This one's really great, isn't it? This one's absolutely lovely. Nice scene, interesting sort of deadly, I suppose film noir sort of romance. Deadly romance, I don't know. It can't be film noir because it's not black and white. But anyway, I'll try not to ramble too much. Really great work. I like the depth of field. I feel like with depth of field though, it's good to have something in the foreground that's blurry as well as the background, and it gives it real depth. At the moment it looks two layered, whereas a third layer at the front would be perfect. So maybe even this glass, if the front of the glass, sorry, the base of the glass was here and more blurry, that would lead us into the image more. Very nice construction though, really nice modelling, and yeah, it looks perfect. I would say it possibly needs something in the background here, because it's a bit sort of blank space feeling, if that makes sense. So I'm not sure what area of the kitchen that is. Maybe the cooker, so maybe a backsplash or something, I don't know. Maybe being a bit hypercritical there, but very nice indeed. Lovely work, I like that one. That's from Maffa. Then we've got Krosn. Okay, that's nice, isn't it? Yep, very interesting design here. Although that could be deadly to the user. Oh no, actually I'm getting the perspective wrong. That is a guard, isn't it? I thought it was coming down the handle slightly. I suppose that's something in the way that you show your models, because you built it so you know exactly what it looks like, but how does it come across instantly to the viewer? I think for this it would have been worth doing a few renders from different angles as well, and then sort of placing them around your scene, if that makes sense. So rather than a final finished piece, have a sort of I'm not explaining myself very well, but often in portfolios you see a render from lots of different angles, and that can help us figure out what's going on. I like it though, nice design, nice style, and well rendered. I think it's best to not leave your background in, so go for a tick the transparent box in the cycles render for the background, and then you can put your own background in and maybe use a colour that's complementary to red. Excellent work. Then we've got Lassie. More swords, more deadly swords. This is nice, I like the model. I think the model's really nice. It's got a blocky feel to it, it's that sort of low poly feel, but still a bit detailed, so it's very nice. Nice sort of construction as well, with the symmetry and everything. I think possibly a bit over the top with the bloom, because you lose a bit of detail with the bloom, or maybe make just the handle, not the handle, the blade with a bit of bloom and keep the handle without it. So give this a tiny bit of an omission, and then it will, then you can adapt your bloom levels accordingly. Like it though, well done. And now we got Terraria 123 again. So that was where is it? Up there with the mysterious one, and we've got you down here with this one. Call this one Hidden, apparently. Yes, very nice. That's a good use of bloom and that sort of volumetrics. I quite like it. I like the fact that you've got something else up here. It adds a bit of interest and a bit of depth to the image. It's possibly a bit blobby with the mountains. I always use that word blobby, but they're very sort of soft. They haven't got hard edges, so that's what I mean when I'm saying blobby. And that's the classic sort of sculpted look, but giving it sort of crisp edges can really help, because it looks like a sort of mountain with something off in the distance. Nice work though. I like the colours as well. Then we got Manuhu, always does some lovely work and hasn't let us down here. That's a good idea as well, with the Voodoo doll hurting himself, which is quite clever over here, definitely. And I like the pins. This is a nice amount of bloom again, so we've got just a bit highlighting areas and adding interest. Yes, I love the background as well. That's quite nice. It complements the foreground, but it doesn't distract too much. It does sort of meet the edge of this, as whatever this is, a cushion sort of thing at the back, which is possibly a bit distracting constructively. That's a very minor criticism. The other minor criticism is the teeth look a bit strange. They look sort of indented rather than full, so maybe a tiny bit more work on the teeth, but again, I'm being hypercritical. If I point out these minor points, that means you're doing really well, because they're minor points. Fantastic work, well done. Stay away from the Voodoo. And this is Zombie Trooper, sorry. That's a good sculpt, well done. Yep, so that's, I think they said their first attempt at sculpting. Good idea with the background and then the lighting to complement it. That's well done, that is. I like it. And these earrings are very good. It's a little bit ugly around here. I think that's kind of the point, but it seems a bit distorted. Like the teeth, the lower jaw seems to come out at the top and then in at the bottom, whereas the jawbone should be, so it looks disjointed slightly. That may be a bit unfair actually, maybe that's just me, the angle it's rendered. So do remember you can do sort of multiple renders on the same piece. It's not always suitable, but sometimes when you haven't got a final scene, like this one is one model, you can show different angles of it, and that can actually help it to look better. I love the scar, that's really nicely done. Some excellent work, and if you say that's one of your first time sculpting, that is really fantastic. Really well done there. It's my first and only sculpture to date. Yes, that is exceptional work then, really nice. Philip Le Pilot, very nice. Oh, this is very more film noir with the black and white, although it's more sort of romancy there, but then we got the poison, yes, so very film noir. Yeah, I like it. The Scrabble, interesting, and there's some interesting things going on here. I'm very impressed with this one because of the idea. I feel like your pieces are a bit too sparse, so there's a lot of space between them and it looks a little unnatural. So this poison bottle looks a bit small, but if we squashed all the pieces together and our frame was closer to here and here and sort of moved up a bit, so in this middle here, and then everything was squashed in, it would give us a more atmosphere basically. It's really nice. Really nice idea, cleverly put together. I like the details, even the little lamp switch, things like that. Very nicely done. The sizes are a little bit off, because if you think of a lamp and the lamp switch, this glass is quite small in comparison. So yeah, just getting the sizes right. The poison does seem a bit small, but it is a small poison, I get the point there. And the Scrabble tiles are a bit thin. So all the idea is exceptional, and this cloth is very nicely done. That works really well, but it's just getting the spacing right and the size in relation to each other right would have really made this piece absolutely amazing. The other thing is, I suppose, with a single image you probably want to render higher samples, because this is what the denoise does. So more samples, but still use the denoise. But I think there's a tutorial about from Gleb Alexandrov about how to use the new denoiser thing that you can add on, or whatever it is, but I haven't really looked at it properly. But I think that could help us as denoisers. Yes, but very, very nice work. I like it. Exceptional. It's going to be a tough one, this, isn't it? Ricardo KX, yep. But Photoshop saved me. Interesting. That is very interesting. I like the idea once again. There's lots going on, but the construction doesn't distract you, if that makes sense. So there's lots of bright colours, the red and green, and they say red and green should never be seen. That's not true in design. I don't think they're actually quite good colours to use together, because they are really vibrant together. I think that's the thing. It may make people look ugly or something like that, but in this case it's really well done. It's got a sort of sci-fi feel with Mario there, and I like the sort of scratches here. I feel like it's a little bit rough around this area. I'm not sure if I'm explaining myself there, but this area feels like it needs to tidy up. Is it sculpted? Probably is. Then maybe a bit of just a bit more work on the face, because that's where we instantly go. And these details around here are really nice, but they don't matter as much as this center item here. Really nice. I like the construction with the circular tunnel. Really clever. Brilliant stuff. And the hand just needs to touch the pipe a bit more, or the pipe needs to be twisted this way, turned this way, rotated, that's the word I'm looking for, this way. I'm not with it this morning. Really nice. Love it. Really great work. And then we've got one from Kazayugen, or Kazayugen. Very nice again. Yes, yeah, really good. I like the design, I like the idea. I think the anatomy needs a tiny bit of work, because it's female from that point of view, but the neck is way too thick, so it needs to go a lot thinner, and that's probably why I think I don't know what's wrong. Maybe the light. I think it's more your shape, just slightly. It's not far out, but those things, especially if you're doing the human form. If you're doing lions or tigers or anything like that, you can get away with much more, because people don't look at them as much, and we just look at them in photos. But people we are looking at all the time, so we notice when there's inaccuracies at all. So getting your anatomy right is very difficult, but very important. Perhaps the shot construction, maybe the eyes need to be just on the top third here. That would make a slight difference. Yeah, I think that I'm being a bit harsh with this, because it's really well done, nice materials, but that's excuse me, where you need to go is just the anatomy that was missing. The textures actually are really nice, and this sort of plasticky look is really, it's not an easy texture to get right, and it does look like that sort of mannequin-y type of texture, so well done with that. There's some really good ones on there. So now we've got Carts FX. Let's have a look. That's very nice too. I like the textures and the materials, they're really good. Depth of field is nice as well. Maybe that's what the other one needed. I'm thinking about the black and white film noir one. I can't remember who did it now. I've forgotten already. But depth of field would have helped it a lot. I don't want to go back to it, because it will take too much time, and there's lots to get through. This one has the atmosphere, but the modelling isn't as good as the last one, you see. So not being offensive in any way, but the snake kind of looks wrong. The balance is wrong. It's sort of indented into the wood here, and the snake needs to sort of curl round and then up. Otherwise it would have exceptionally good muscular structure to get its body in this sort of position. Although maybe I just don't understand the snakes, but a lot of pressure would go on this point here if it was sticking up in this direction. But the texture and the light and the atmosphere is very, very good. The lights from the candles, I like that sort of melty look, and the bottle green. It's very nice indeed. But yes, a little bit more work on the models, the snake. The knife could possibly come forward because we've got a lot of blank space around here, and then it would make it more sort of a deadly feel. We got every deadly item under the sun here, haven't we? Beasts, potions, stabby items, pentagrams. Brilliant work. Really nice. It has that atmosphere to it, which is really great. Well done. Pixel Ultimate. This is good, isn't it? Yep, very nice. Oh, I like the saliva. Yet these sort of elements give real movement and sort of a dynamic feel to pieces. So really nice. Oh, I see. It's actually transparent, so my screen's coming through. I didn't realise I could do that. That's pretty cool. I would actually put a background in, otherwise it will get distracted by the background that I've put it on. But it's really great. Really nice details. I'm not a big fan of the hair, and that's something that just sort of instantly screams CG, unfortunately. But that it's really tough, and I just steer clear of hair for that reason. But it's a very nice piece. Good construction as well, leaving it off to the side like this. The face, which is the main feature, has a lot of detail, a lot of work, and works really nicely. I would say the teeth are a tiny bit uniform, so it loses its sort of monstery evil look when it's got nice symmetry. So go away from the symmetry at the end, pull the teeth around, make it look more evil and sinister, and give it maybe even an expression, so this eye comes up and this side maybe comes down. Yeah, pulling it around and more, making it asymmetrical. The only other thing I would say as well, it looks a tiny bit plasticky, so giving it variation in the roughness and shininess would help a little bit here. I think maybe that's what it is, or it might just be the colour needs more variation. It's something that's really tough to do when you're trying to get that sort of reptilian skin, because it kind of looks plasticky, but this looks too close to one of those sort of theme park type of dinosaurs. Really, really nice work though. Absolutely love that. Okay, so we got Elzek here, looking good. Very spiky. Really great. Yeah, I like the construction, I like the scene. I feel like it's a little bit flat, although no, that's a bit harsh. It just seems flat around here because this grey matches this grey, so a bit work on the lighting so it doesn't highlight the background. In other words, highlight your main object rather than any of the background so it doesn't blend in. Would help you. I think some of your edges are a bit sharp as well. It's got that low poly feel, and I love the idea with all the guns and spikes and everything like that. And the weapons on the top there, but everything's a bit sort of sharp in terms of no bevels. It's the classic, and it's a bit uniform with the plants down the side here. I can see why you want to put those in, because you're thinking I need to break this up a bit because it's very flat otherwise. So putting an element in here makes a lot of sense, but they all look a bit too uniform. It's very nice though, very cool piece. I love it, and I love the design. Hopefully I'm not being overly harsh. I am trying to offer constructive criticism to people to help you, but I'm feeling like I'm being a bit harsh at the moment. They are excellent pieces, don't get me wrong with what I'm saying. So we've got one from Giru, or Jiru, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Another day, another slice. Very nice. I love all the skulls. They're pretty cool actually. I do like that, and I like the environment in the background. It's very interesting. I'm losing the shape a little because this bit looks like they're legs, am I right? And then it doesn't have any arms and a cloak. So I'm a bit lost as to how I'm imagining the shape of this character, because the legs, if these are legs, are very wide. In fact, I think I'm not understanding it, am I? Because this is actually a separate item. It looked like it was a character at first, and I think this is actually a separate item that looks more like... In fact, I don't know. So that's possibly me again, not really understanding the theme, and I like it. I think all the elements are really sculpted beautifully. The skulls are brilliant, the sword's excellent, but the construction has left me a little confused as to the frame of the character and how it works. It might just be a sort of ghosty thing in the background, because this looks like it's attached. You see, that's what I'm lost. This seems to be attached to here, but then it follows the flow of the cloak, so it looks like it's part of the cloak instantly. So that's often a common mistake that I often do as well. So I've made my character, I know what it looks like, and then when I'm constructing the scene, I know there's a stark difference here between these two. But when someone new looks at it, they'll look at it completely differently. So just watch out for those things. I like the colour theme and the rest of the construction. That's really great, and your sculpting work is absolutely fantastic. So once again, some great stuff there. Then we got Zadoro, is that right? And a deadly plug socket. Interestingly, it's a European, and this is I don't know, British standard. In fact that's American standard, isn't it? So is this the deadly combination? That's and that must be it, actually. Rather than plug sockets just being deadly killers, it's the deadly combination of having the wrong adapter. That must be it. I like the idea, excellent. The lighting's a bit weird. I can understand what you're thinking. You're thinking a hard light so that you get big shadows, and that gives a sort of thriller-esque feel. But then you want to narrow your beam of light, because this is actually just as bright as, well, almost as bright as this area. So it looks flat. I'm often saying this thing, I know, flat. But we need a bit more sort of framing with our lighting. So don't light everything, think a bit more about your lighting angles. I'm probably spending a bit too much time on each of them, so you can comment in the below in the comments below. You can comment and let me know whether I'm going overboard with these things, and whether I'm getting it right in terms of the criticisms and constructive criticisms, hopefully, and compliments. Here we go, another deadly one. Oh, I forgot to say. So that's Nate G. Nice model, excellently done. This is, good design. The hair again is really tough to get right. You've done well, but I suppose with a werewolf you have to have hair. I suppose look at some inspiration from things like, I don't know, Witcher 3 is a classic that's got werewolves in, and they'll have sort of spots of hair around the place rather than really even like this. But it's very tough to do. Same with the grass. Try and change the lengths of your grass, make it more random, basically, would help. Again, that's why I keep away from hair, because it just instantly makes things look very CG and fake. Be a little bit careful with your moon here, not touching your tree too closely. I would have put a slight emission on the moon, maybe a bit of backlighting, so he was a bit more silhouette, and that might have made it more interesting in terms of the construction. Really well done with your model. You might want to try posing a model as well next, without the symmetry. I think there may have been a bit posing going on, but with a bit more asymmetry, make it more dynamic and exciting. Really great work on your werewolf. Well done. Now we got Gabriel Tickle. That's very nice. Yep. Now that interesting with the noise, because I think that's actually particles, isn't it? It works nicely, and I like that sort of feeling. There's possibly a bit too full of it, so there needs to be more of a scatter and less of the little particles, I think. I love the light. That's the sort of construction that in fact this would have worked well with the werewolf. So the light coming from the side here, and then the werewolf being silhouetted. That's the sort of scene we want to see, and then we need, I think, a focal element just here, which the werewolf, so the collaboration would have been excellent there. This is superb lighting, really interesting, and really creates an atmosphere. Well done. Then we got Murdoch, then a tool out of control. Yes, so this is some crazy robot that's out of control. Very nice. I like the sculpt, and it's integrated nicely with some hard surface modeling there. It's very tough to do hard surface sculpting, and you've got that sort of blobbiness to it. That's my favorite word again, which I find really tough. to get with hard surface modeling. Hard surface sculpting, to not get that blobbiness. So the pinch tool, the super pinch tool, as Master Xeon would talk about, would be your friend here. This is very nice. You see, I like this because it's box modeled probably. So this you want to box model as well, probably, and then the sculpt for the head would have been better because this is all nicely sharp, these hard surface areas around here, but then your armor pieces is a bit too blobby like the skeleton. Really nice work though, nicely constructed, well framed, good lighting, and a great sculpt. Really nice. Mandalorian? Warlike scene, yes indeed. Very nice, yep, that's good. Very good. It's a tiny bit bright in the background. So is that, maybe that's just me actually. There's something about the background that's not right for me. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's, yeah, it is too blue and bright because we've got it's too dark here for that, I think. I can't actually quite put my finger on it. It's almost excellent. This tank is brilliant and I've only just noticed it. So getting that lighting right, you might have wanted to sort of fake a bit of lighting, maybe highlight the tank area and then had this sort of area a bit more dim, and maybe put the tank so it's in that third there, so we have more focus on it. But the scene is great, the textures are lovely. The thing is, we focus on this corner here because that's where the depth of field is in terms of our focus, and this is all sort of going out of focus with the depth of field and the mist. So our points of interest, which are nicely in a triangle, which is a good idea, they're kind of lost, and our eyes are focused on this area which doesn't have anything in. The scene is brilliant, but that's the only thing that lets it down, because this, I feel like this scene is absolutely fantastic. I love the levels that you've got, the trees in the background, and the models look really good, but yeah, just let down with the final finished render. Really nice though, really excellent work, I really like it. Some good stuff here. So now this is Merry Mary's, and she's done this lovely snake, and always doing a great job. She doesn't want me to enter it as such. She's put it up to sort of talk about her work and get some feedback perhaps, but she doesn't want to enter because she keeps winning. Well done. You shouldn't worry about that sort of thing. Personally, that's in my opinion, and I'm not the sort of person who will not give the prize to what I feel is the best one. So if someone keeps winning, they keep winning, and I think that's a good thing. It's more of a challenge to the rest of us. I like the snake. It's fantastic, brilliantly done. I feel it loses it around here and around here. Now, is it the case? Yeah, they do actually. Snakes do get thinner towards the head, don't they? And the thicker in the middle. That's really nicely done. But it's lost its structure a bit here, hasn't it? So it looks a bit flat in this area. It's a really, really hard thing to draw, isn't it? When you've got that sort of curve to a thick object, and you really have to think in 3D. There's I can't remember which artist it is, but they actually kind of draw in 3D. So they draw loads of circles to see the line of this sort of curve. Exceptionally hard thing to do, and really well done. I don't know, it's got this sort of blur there, and it's this is pastels, isn't it? So it's quite hard to get that nice fade out, and it fades a bit quickly just there. I'm really picking up on very minor points at the moment, so that's obviously how good it is. So really well done once again, although I'm not allowed to put it into the competition. Okay, so we got P Mark, and indeed the deadly deletion of the default cube. It's nicely put together, this. I like this. I think we should sort of make this some sort of icon to go somewhere. It's well done. I don't think there's enough detail for a winner, but in terms of making it work and the idea, that's exceptional. Lovely stuff. Now we've got Scolus 33. Yes, very nice. I do like a black background with a shiny floor when you've got this sort of dark objects that you've got emissions on. Am I making sense? And black and yellow go really well together. Use like wasps and bees and have that sort of black and yellow, so they look more deadly. So that's really nice. I like the texture. That's an interesting texture we've got there. It's interesting here, and then it looks a bit too blocky here. So you need a bit more subdivisions in your circle here. Perhaps put a subdivision surface modifier on this and then sharpen up the edges, or you just need to start with more cuts, especially when it's the brightest thing in your scene. We will notice these edges and the polygons, so just watch out for that. Don't be afraid to up your polygon count, unless I suppose this is for a game model or something, then it's very difficult to do that. But I feel like you may have too many polys on this section and you need more. You need to use your poly count for this part here. That would be better. Really nice work though, well done. So now we got Arcadius. Oh, well, this is nice, isn't it? I like this. Oh, that's lovely, isn't it? Yes, that's now you see what I mean about the light. This is very sort of much a spotlight, but it frames our object really nicely, and then it sort of links in with the background. This is very nice work. I love the design. This is another model I would have liked to have seen from different angles, so a few different shots of it would have helped me. I like it though. Really lots of work and time gone into this. You're making my decisions very tough. Nice materials. It's interesting, I thought it was actually hand drawn at first, but obviously that's just the textures. But can you see the nice reflection and the normal maps or bump maps here? That's what other models occasionally are missing, and that gives it that sort of realism, but not necessarily realism at times, just that sort of interest. And this would look brilliant animated, I'm sure. So fantastic work there from Arcadius. 2.8. Oh, and texture in Substance Painter. You see, there it is. And then brought back in Eevee. And that's, you can see, Substance Painter is fantastic for materials. I try and avoid it and do more in Blender because I want to be able to teach people how to do it in Blender. But I know it is absolutely brilliant. Now we've got one from Dazda. Special thanks to Curtis Holt for the tutorials on Nebulous. Yes, well worth a watch that. Curtis Holt does some absolutely brilliant tutorials, so do look out for them. This is nice, and yes, the Nebulous in the background is looking pretty cool. I like the lighting on the character as well, very nice. Although I suppose it does make it a bit silhouetted, if that's a word. So it makes him seem darker, and he should be the point of interest, but the Nebulous actually becomes the point of interest because it's brighter. So watch out for that in terms of how you set up your scene. I think the eyes are need a bit more work in terms of where the pupils are, because the pupils slightly, he's got a wonky eye basically. But actually maybe that's fair enough because he's sort of a wonky eye type of character. The eyebrows as well. Eyebrows again are absolute pain, but they look a little bit blobby and not sort of sharp enough in areas. But I understand that, and I feel your pain with eyebrows. Sometimes with orcs and things like that, best just to not give them eyebrows. It's probably just a bit easier that way. Very nice, excellent work. Again, brilliant. Now we've got Just High Noon in the Wild West. Oh, this looks good. This is great fun. This is quite in very sharp contrast to everything else, which has been quite dark and moody. Generally speaking, this one's got the low poly, fun aspect to it. Loads of details, looks really cool. Nice angle, love the clouds in the background. The colours are all very vivid. I prefer a low poly scene that has sort of muted colours because it can look a bit flat. I'm saying that word again, flat. But there's no distance in terms of things in the distance usually look less saturated, and things in the foreground more saturated and darker generally, and in the background they're lighter and less saturated. So to give it more depth, that would help, because your browns on your character are very similar to the Saloon browns, and therefore it doesn't stand out too much. That's a very minor criticism though, because I love this piece. I think it's brilliant. Just love the story, all the bottles, the wagon, the saloon. I mean, it's just brilliant, isn't it? The hat of this person here, this bad guy, I'm assuming, because that's the sheriff. Oh, naughty man. Anyway, moving on. Brilliant job. Love it. Oh, who am I going to choose this time? It's very tough. Angel Ria. Let's have a look. Now, let me see. Immediately, I'm struggling to understand. I'm going to go back to, I want to replicate a bad horror movie type of photo. I don't know if it's necessarily deadly. Horror movie type of photo. I'm not quite getting it. Sorry about that. Again, it's probably my understanding of popular culture at the moment, perhaps, and that sort of thing. I'm trying to figure it out. Yes, so perhaps in the way you construct your scene, think very much about the viewer and what they're going to see, whether it makes sense to them. It looks very sort of surreal and strange, and therefore I'm not sure how the theme relates. There's some. I like your use of colours. That this really is highlighted because of your black and white in the rest of the scene. So that's I can see where you're going with that, trying to make us look down here. But otherwise, I'm a little bit at a loss as to what I'm looking at. So just a bit of work needed there to help me out. Help us old people out who don't understand things. So now we've got Maffa, the deadliest species in the ocean on Google is a jellyfish. Yes, indeed. There's, it's, oh yeah, and so very cultural there, with sort of up to date, dealing with the issues of plastic interfering and rubbish interfering with everything. I like it. So let me just see. So I searched for the deadliest species in the ocean. There I found a jellyfish I could make. In my research for this jellyfish, I found an even more deadly species. So I'm assuming that is us. Ah, I'm getting it. Yes. So hence the rubbish everywhere. We are the most deadly species. Oh, that is clever. This is nice. This is really well done and a lovely model. When you've got this much detail, it's quite difficult because then you need to add really high levels of detail everywhere else. So this bottom of the ocean floor here looks too flat, and you probably need to look at a few more reference images of the floor, because it takes up quite a lot of our focus, doesn't it? So again, it's these sort of sparse areas here. Maybe it's not the texture of the floor. Maybe it's just that we haven't got anything here. And that's a really common problem with 3D, because it takes us so long to make these objects that we need more objects in the scene, and it's just too much. So in that case, squash your scene in and bring this element in here, bring these elements together, the net in here, and then frame it from about here, and you'll find it a bit easier. I really like this piece though. Again, those are minor criticisms. It's another one very similar to the one earlier, the film noir style, where there's too much space and it's too comfortable. And that sort of scene construction is going to be more important than these exceptional models, which are absolutely brilliant. Yes, really like it. Nice work. And we've got another one from Arcadius. I think we've had one before, haven't we? I'm trying to remember now. Oh yes, we have, because I remember that. I love the logo. This one's cool as well. It's going to be a Substance Painter thing again, isn't it? And it's well worth using these things like Substance Painter, because they make things look exceptional, don't they? Not that it's easy. I'm not suggesting that you just plonk it into Substance Painter and it works, because your model has to be good as well, and this is a good model. So don't think that it's a quick fix to things, and I'm not suggesting that this is still not hard work. But as using Substance Painter is certainly much easier for texturing than Blender is. Really nice idea, design. That's good stuff, isn't it? Well framed. But again, I suppose with a single model like this, maybe like this on one side and then a few renders on the side, I think would make it look even better when showing it off in your portfolio. Love this designs. Yeah, it's just great stuff, isn't it? Really nice, well done. Got one from Croc here. It's quite interesting. Yeah, I'm not too worried now, because the way I'm showing these, I'm not too worried about the 1920 by 1080. It just took me too long to format and things to put them all full screen. So I'm just showing them through the Discord and having a discussion about them. I like this. This is a cool character. Really nice. I think it's let down by this character, which is our main focus, because the depth of field. This looks not as well textured as this character, and the anatomy doesn't look as good as this character. So we've got sort of a mismatch of quality levels. Sometimes if you keep the same quality level, like low poly for example, you're fine, but as soon as you put low poly in a high poly scene, it looks really weird. So very detailed here, and then the lack of detail here is a mismatch. Lovely scene though, good construction. That's quite clever, using the top of the staff with the face, if the spiders have faces, the head of the spider, because that draws our eye to this area. But it's a little bit bright. Is it a little bit bright here? I'm not sure actually. It's quite a hard one to do, because I'm assuming the light is being emitted from, or the idea is that the light's emitted from here. So it's that sort of, like the scene in the Lord of the Rings. Is it the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit? No, the Lord of the Rings, where he gets out the light of something or other, and Shelob, is it the big spider? That was really well lit, because you suddenly see the spider, and that's what we're trying to mimic here by the looks of things. But there's too much light on this area, in my opinion. So a little bit work on the construction of the lighting in this case, and the detail of the spider. But it is some exceptional work once again. Excellent stuff. Just reading the comments there. This looks interesting as well. Inhaler, not inhaler. I naturally say inhaler because I'm thinking of the people who have asthma. Nice work. This is a nice design, isn't it? Really well put together. There's a slight glitch there. Sorry if I'm being pedantic. But you really notice these things in 3D, especially when it's something we're used to looking at, like cars. You notice when there's a glitch straight away, and it's a bit blocky around here. I like the car material. That's very nice. Love this cool looking weapon here. It's really cool. It's really, do love it. I just feel like these elements really stand out because the rest of it's so good. This gun looks amazing, and a lot of time has been spent on that, I think, and not much time, not the same amount of time I should say, on this window down here. But this is quite a bright spot, so our eyes are drawn to it, so be a bit careful of that. Again, I would have liked this one render here, because we don't really need this bit here and here. We could brought this across and then have several renders on the side that are smaller, and that would have been a really nice way of showing it off. I love it though, I really do. I quite like the floor as well. Yep, nice work from Inhaler. Frogget, here is my submission. Looking good. You see that the textures, it would have been nice if this had gone Substance Painter like the last one. Not that we all have to use Substance Painter, but this is a nice one for experimenting in Substance Painter, because it's a nice clean model, but more experimentation needed in the texturing, I think, to take it to the next level. I like the way it's rendered as well. A strong light here from the side, this nice soft shadow. That's a good way of showing your models. Yeah, is this sculpted or... No, I don't think it is it? Because it's got sharp edges there. So it's just the sort of... Because it looks a bit sort of organic-y, which suggests a bit of sculpting, but I don't think it is actually. I think it's just the way the subdivision surface modifier is hitting it. Yeah, nice work. Well done. Detauda, is that? I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Haven't taken a part in competition, so why not? Thanks for joining us. This is pretty cool. I like the render. This must have subsurface scattering. Has it got? Because it looks a sort of softness. Is that you know, I don't play Minecraft, and I think this is a Minecraft thing, isn't it? I've never played Minecraft. If you indeed play it, I know I've sort of seen it, but I've never actually played it. There was a phase when lots of my students would build stuff in Minecraft, but that was quite a good few years ago now. Anyway, so love the model. It looks really brilliant. Now this is what I mean by posing a models. If this was straight and flat, like I think they are in Minecraft, and just sort of upright, it wouldn't look as good. But that sort of angle and moving it around, giving it some structure, gives a sort of dynamic, scary look to it. Very nice. Yeah, I like it. Could have again separated it and done a few extra renders down the side here, because we don't really need this space here and here. But again, it is my fault really, because I always say 1920 by 1080, so it fits on the screen. But again, it's takes too long to edit these things. I am really going on. I don't know how long I'm recording for now. Cool, I'm up to 45 minutes and I'm still not finished. If you're still with me, well done. Give me a shout out in the comments if you're still with me. Anyway, sorry, I forgot to read who this was. Zadoro. We had a Zadoro already. No, I don't think we have. Deadly. So we've got the chessboard and we've got a guillotine. What's the comments? Don't be part in the game. It can be deadly. Don't take part in the game, perhaps. I do love a game of chess. I play a lot of chess, actually. I'm quite bad at it, but I do play a lot. So I enjoy chess models. We haven't got enough pieces here, though, I'm afraid. Maybe they've all been guillotined. We need some chopped up pieces here. We're missing... Oh, in fact, this position, it's just... I don't know what's happening here. Anyway, what am I talking about? Let's go back to the picture. So the guillotine is a bit sharp in places, and the horse's mouth is holding the guillotine. I would have loved to see a chess piece in the guillotine, like the king. It would have been good. Death of the King would have been cool. Maybe I know it's a lot to model, but thinking about the actual mechanism, because it's sort of floating. But I love the idea. I think, in fact, that's a render I would love to do, like a king chess piece in a guillotine, because there was sort of Renaissance artists or something wasn't there who drew the Death of the King Charles. Anyway, I'm going off on one, but I love the idea. Absolutely brilliant. And really well done with your models. Knights are tough to do, and you've done them really well. But yes, watch out for these sharp edges. I think I've said that. Sharp edges, obviously keep one down here, but generally put bevels on your objects. They'll look a lot better. Brilliant job though, well done. So then we got Spectrus_San. Well, it's something. It's more than something. It's brilliant. Well, it's something. I like this idea. This is quite cool, isn't it? This is a lovely model. I like the depth of field. It does make it look like a miniature, if that's what you're trying to do. So whenever you use a high depth of field, it makes things look quite small. This, I like the angle. Yeah, I'm absolutely loving this. It's brilliant. And this is a really nicely put together model. I like the layers, the armor. It's got that sort of, what am I thinking? Japanese samurai. That's the word I'm looking for. I couldn't think of samurai. It's got that sort of feel to it. I love it. I can't really fault it actually. The fact there's no colour on this is actually really nice. It's got that softness to it, but then it's with the red. That sort of two colour is really cool. I really like this. Exceptional piece. Well done. So Beeve we've got. Already spent too much time on it. Yes, I know the feeling. It does get like that with these things. This is nice, yeah. It's an interesting angle going straight down like this. And the fire, therefore, shouldn't point that way. It looks like it's pointing that way instead of going upwards. So watch out for that. I like these spots around here. That's quite a nice feel, but we need some in the distance as well, because these are all very close to the camera. So therefore it looks like there's spots on the lens more than sort of dynamic elements in the scene. So adding particles to your scene like that can be really good, but you do have to sort of make sure that in your entire scene. This looks like it's right next to the camera because of the depth of field. So this suggests depth of field, but then the rest is all really well in focus, and I feel like the focus may be too wide. Yeah, it's a tough one to say, but that again makes it look a bit flat, so watch out. The other thing that makes it look flat is that we are looking straight at the ground here, which is flat, and we've only got this wall to give us any depth, and therefore the focus sort of comes out here. So yes, I'm probably going on a bit too much about depth and flat and that sort of thing, but it really does make a difference. The material is good here, but it doesn't feel sharp on the edges. I'm trying to figure out why I feel that's wrong. It feels a bit blobby again. Maybe there's too much of a bump, perhaps. Maybe less of a bump, more sort of harshness in your material there. And then this one's very shiny in contrast to this one. And maybe that needs more of the softness of this one. Somewhere in between the two, I think would have been perfect. I'm being very harsh here. I think I'm overly harsh because it's still a very good piece, so well done. It's Fatima. Nice idea. That's doing hair well, isn't it? That's really cool. It's again really tough to do. I would have loved to see the rabbit, the bunny probably best, the fluffy bunny starting to burst into flames on the foot. Well, why would I love to see that? No, I wouldn't. But you know what I mean, because of standing on the lava. Hey, it's a really cool one, this. I like it. The construction's very good. The rule of thirds. And we got them at the bottom third, and usually their eye line would be at the top, but actually it gives them a size reference and makes them look smaller. Really nicely done. Interesting way you've done the lava. I'd be interested to know more about your texturing there. Fantastic work. And now we've got another one from Jost, I think, and this one I really like again. That's cool, isn't it? This has more depth to it, and that's what I like, but I would have liked to have seen lighter colours in the background. Am I being too harsh? I probably am being too harsh, because it is a low poly thing and you don't really get that. But it just helps with the sort of distances. You can fake it to a degree by just making the saloon and things at the back a bit lighter, and then this one a slightly less light, and then this one a bit darker, and it would have just helped us with the distance. But the actual pathway here is really cool. This is brilliant. I absolutely love it. I just love the style of the low poly. It's quite hard to pose your low poly characters, but they've been posed really, really nicely here. It could be a favourite of mine. It's hard today. It's always hard, but this is really cool. Absolutely loving it. So we've got Marky Boy here. A deadly trap. Yes, very nice indeed. I like it. A bit more variation in the grass, I would suggest. It's good grass, and I love the little clovers here. In fact, it's very good grass, but just a bit more variation in the height because it looks a bit uniform. Like I said, it's really hard to do those particle hair things, such as grass. The materials the model's excellent, but the materials tend to stripe a bit in this area, and it looks like it's to do with the way you've unwrapped your model. With complex models like this, it's quite hard to sort of box texture, which I think might be going on here. Do correct me if I'm wrong, or it could just be the unwrap isn't great and you maybe done a sort of smart UV project. In fact, I'm not really sure, but there's yeah, so it's gone a bit stripy, and then you have to sort out those sort of textures and make them a bit more random, and that will be to do with your unwrap. Excellent work though, really nice idea for the model, and they are good textures. In fact, it's sort of got a rusty feel, although be a bit careful because your rust area here should look a bit more red, otherwise it looks like it's been a rusty object that's been painted silver. Anyway, well done once again. It's getting tougher and tougher, and I'm not sure which one's going to win. This video is going on very long, so I might have to rush through the last ones, but that's not really fair, is it? Anyway, I like this one, so I forgot to see who it was. Tassos_V, really nice work. Love the idea with the knights and dragons. That's like my favourite genre, so you're hitting a chord there for me. A little bit of work on your models, I think, because of the way it sort of links up. The arm looks very heavy, and the body doesn't look like it could hold that weight. That's the only thing I would say there. And your edges are quite sharp. I love the pose though. That's brilliant. It looks very dynamic, and the construction looks really cool. Nice work, well done. Then we've got Frank Drebin. I love Frank. He's great fun on the community. And we've got Stanley again. Hang on, I've seen Stanley's. Deadly, just thought. Deadly, oh, that is a classic. He's a funny chappy, isn't he? I'm impressed. Yeah, well done. You can't win based on your humour though. So we've seen this before. In fact, you have improved it, definitely. The construction is much better. And have you worked on your materials as well? Because that looks pretty cool. I'm impressed. The grass is a bit uniform. I'm really criticising grass today, and you need a bit more bump in your dirt, in my opinion. But that is a huge improvement from the last one. In terms of your shot construction, it looks a lot better. Really well done, and a great pun. It's very clever pun. I had not thought of that, so really well done. Now we've got Aaron 16.1, and sorry for the noise in my image. I tried to remove it. What the? Yeah, if I could understand the rest of that, I'd read it out. This is nice though. Yeah, nice model. I love their style. They've got this sort of blocky style where they don't mind putting shapes on top of shapes, so it doesn't all have to be one model. And this is nicely designed. Yes, there is a bit of noise. Good hair though. I like that. It's not too bad with the noise, but it's nice. Nice construction. It's lost. I don't know. In fact, I'm not sure whether the volumetrics are helping this object so much. I'm not sure why. It just doesn't quite work with the volumetrics for me. Yeah. So I think it's just a bit too much. So it's sort of really the light's spilling everywhere here and here, and I feel like it needs more direction. So I suppose that's what it is. It's the soft light feel. And generally, if you're thinking deadly, we're thinking thriller. We have hard light, so the shadows should be quite pronounced. And in this case, they're quite soft, apart from down here. But it's a great model and a great construction. But yeah, the lighting is not working for me. That might just be me though. Oh, we've reached the last one, Matthias. Let's have a look at what you've done. I've got to turn the sound off, haven't I? Yep, to avoid copyright. I can go full screen with this one. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of the thing. I was making sure this was working earlier. So we're moving into the picture, and I have seen this already because I do look at the entries beforehand, and I'm a little confused as to what's going on. I love the fact that you always use the model from the previous competition, so I'm really looking forward to what you're going to do in the next competition. I haven't thought of the category yet, but this is, and there's some sort of, I don't know, is this some screen we're looking at? I'm not sure. There's lots going on there. I'm sure it's very deadly. Great fun, and well done. It must have taken a lot of time because there's lots going on there. I've got to think of a winner, and this is tough. Let me see. Let's go back through really quickly. Lovely joke, Frank. Well, very clever. Oh, this is a good one. Oh, this is a good one as well. Fatima and Jost battling it out there. I do like this one as well. Yes, I do like this one a lot. It's the colour that works so well. So, Spectrus _ San. A good idea there. I love the construction. There's something about this that I really love. Really great. That was a cool car, got to be said. That's a cool model as well from Arcadius. And this is a cool model as well. Oh no, this is going to be really tough. Another one from Joss. I mean, Joss has done 2 cool scenes there, so maybe that should work in his advantage. And Arcadius has done 2 cool models as well. In fact, is that the only... No, we do have one more 2D right at the top, don't we? So I think we've got an automatic winner for the 2D. I'll come to that in a second. This one I really loved, but it was the construction that let it down a bit. Cool Werewolf. I love the skulls at the bottom here. This was a great model as well, wasn't it? Oh man, this is tough. This was one. It was Philippe, and that was a cool model. Just squish it in and think about the atmosphere with the lighting and stuff. That would have been cool. Oh, and Manahu did a really cool one as well. And Maffa did another. Oh, it's 2 from Maffa, isn't it? That's another cool one there. Am I right in saying that? So Pink Mayo, you have won the 2D. Elizabeth Sunner, the nice way it is. I'm glad it's not just the only submission that makes this win, because it is actually a good piece as well, and it's a very popular look. So well done to you. So don't feel like you've just got it by default. It would have been actually close between you and Mary, but luckily I don't have to make the decision because Mary has abstained from this competition. So, oh dear, the 3D one. This is going to be so tough. I'm looking at my board as well, and to think of the styles that I haven't chosen to make my board, wall, look more varied. And for that reason, I'm scrolling down. Oh, I'm tempted because we haven't got any singular objects on the board, on the wall yet. I say the board because I'm a teacher, sorry. Even though I don't teach with a board anymore, I teach with a TV screen. But I'm so used to saying, oh, that's a good one. I'm so used to saying on the board, look at the board, that sort of thing. This, yeah, that's close. No, it's gonna be Jost. Yeah, it's very good. Love the scene. It's really cool. It's not only the models are great, but the what do you call it? The positioning and the sort of animation. It's not animation. Pose. That's the word I'm looking for. It's really good. I've been talking for too long. This is almost an hour. God dear, you're killing me with your brilliance. And hence why it's taken me so long. It's great to see so many submissions. Really well done. So Jost and Pink Mayo, well done. So congratulations to both Pink Mayo and Jost. Your work was absolutely fantastic and worthy winners. It was very tough though, so well done to all those that entered. I really appreciate all the time and effort you put into these things, and I hope I wasn't too harsh. I was a bit worried about that. I hope the criticism was worth something to you. So let me know in the comments below, even if you are still with me. I'd be surprised if that many are after a whole hour. That's probably my longest ever video, perhaps. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.